Hi everybody, my name is Betsy. My pronouns are she, her, and this is my first floss tube. I go by Betselina Stitches both here and on Instagram. Welcome to my channel. Since this is my first video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and then do a short WIP parade so you can see the kinds of stitching I do and decide for yourself whether or not you want to subscribe and watch my videos in the future. So, to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest outside of Portland, Oregon, but have lived in the Washington, D.C. area since 2014. So if you hear a mix of accents, that's where it's coming from. I don't know. Maybe I just sound like a West Coaster. Um, I've been a researcher for 15 years and I work mostly on big problems using data and research in social science. Um, and so your basic social justice data nerd. Probably won't talk about work on here, but just to give you an idea of where my brain is at, I currently work for a nonprofit. In terms of cross stitch, I remember being really into some ornaments, at least one Christmas in my childhood, but really started up again in November of 2023. My dad had had a health scare and was in the hospital for an extended period of time for the first time since he was in his 50s. And when I got home, I had a lot of feelings to process. So I decided to start a cross stitch project for him from a kit by Dimensions. And I started doing some research on YouTube to make sure I was doing things correctly. Couldn't remember how to do a French knot. And I fell down a floss tube rabbit hole and basically stitched almost every day since. I'm neurodivergent and I sent several cross stitch projects to as presents to folks after about 1 month of steady stitching. So you can tell I can kind of hyper focus. I'm in my 40s and I live with my partner and our 3 cats, no kids. I may get a cat or two here to join me, but they probably won't want to be in the videos unless they seriously want something. So, as for this channel, I plan to set this up like other floss tubes on here with more about my regular stitching, finishes, starts, and WIPs. WIP stands for work in progress. Um, I may also talk about some planning or share other crafting. I also started doing some amigurumi crochet around the same time, but it's not as much as of an obsession. I see other people out there doing amazing things with knitting too, but I haven't done that in at least 15 years. Um, I may tell you a little bit about what I'm reading. Who knows? Let's just get through this WIP parade first, and we'll see if I keep it going. Since I don't have a ton of WIPs, I may also do a finish parade sometime soon. So I told you I'm a data nerd, so let's start with some stats. In 2024, I started 34 projects, including 2 Amigurimi crochet projects that I'm tracking in the same tracker. I just switched to Notion, so if you see me looking over to my right, that's probably me looking at the screen um, at my Notion. I finished 21 projects, including 2 that were started in 2023, and one of those was also an Amigurumi project. In the last month of 2023, when I had first just started, I started and finished 4 other projects, with one of those being Amigurumi. And in January of this year, I have started 3 more projects. That's WIP Go for you. And so I have 19 remaining WIPs. I think I'm going to try to go through these in start order, just because that's what makes sense to my brain. So let's get started with those in just a moment. Okay, so beginning with the only project I started in 2023 that is still a WIP is this cat in a pot. And this one is actually embroidery. So hopefully you can see that okay. But it's a little black cat in a yellow pot with some plant growing around it. I actually ordered this off of Amazon and then discovered it was not cross stitch, but I figured, sure, I will start something new. So uh, this is where I'm at now. You can see it's a printed canvas, and then on the picture I showed you before, it kind of says like here's where the colors and what sort of stitch to do. Well, you can see that okay. So I still have quite a bit more of the plant to go, but I'm loving the little cat and its yellow eyes. I started that one on December 4th, 2023. And I've worked on it a few times since then, but really was more into the cross stitch. The second project, it was the first project I started in 2024 that is still a work in progress, is actually Amigurimi crochet. And so what that is like little characters or stuffed animals, things like that, made out of crochet. So not your typical like garment crochet, but more, toys. So this one is a set of veggies, which I just thought was really cute. And I don't know exactly who the designer is because it was Amazon kits. Um, so this is several different things, but I kind of consider it all the same project. So first we have garlic. Um, and here's my little garlic. Super cute. I just need to put the eyes and face on it. Then we have spring onion. And please forgive me if you're hearing shuffling in boxes and things. That's how far I got on the spring onion. Then we have broccoli. And this one was really fun. I like these little sort of popcorn stitches that make the florets. Again, still need to put a face on it. Let's see. You have a radish. This one I don't think I've attached the leaf to it, but I do have the leaf somewhere in this box. There's an artichoke. Let's see. This one, I think maybe I have sort of like the body of the artichoke. But I haven't attached all the leaves that I've created. And then finally this pea pod with these rainbow peas in it, which I think is adorable. I had never made a ball out of crochet, so this is what those look like. And the start of the pea pod is right here. It's kind of hard to show you. So that is the Amigurimi Veggies project. The next start I did was a project I bought on Etsy. And it is this winter face. Oh. So there are versions of this for each season. Oh, there, that's better. One thing I discovered is that it is gigantic compared to a lot of the other projects that I've worked on since then. It's got 19,734 stitches remaining. And so this is what I have completed so far. And this is sort of the woman's bangs here and some of the hair. So yeah, lots of stitches to go. But it's very snowy, so sometimes I like to say it's a snow day project, even though I don't always work on it on snow days. The next thing I started was a temperature chart. And the temperature chart is the finished copy looks something like this. But it's really cool. This is by Climbing Goat Designs. The winter face was by Goffin Design on Etsy. But it's really cool because it gives you a key with the moon phases for the time zone that you're in. And then each moon, the colors are the high and low temperature for that day. So super complicated data collection and visualization. Maybe at some point I'll share what my process was with that. But I have finished recording all of the temperatures, but I still have quite a bit of the frame to work on and to put Washington, D.C. as the location in the bottom. But I just love this rainbow colored moon and temperature chart. Is a lot of work, but it makes me happy to look at it. So Winterface was started on January 12th, and the moon phases 2024 temperature chart was started on January 13th. January 13th. So going into February starts. February 17th, I started the Hoovian Stitch Along, which is, maybe I'll insert a picture here if I can find the fully complete version of the pattern, but it was a mystery stitch along. I actually joined thinking it was 2024 when it started, but it actually had been completed in 2023. So I've just been working on my own schedule. And I can show you what August's complete pattern looks like, but there are definitely more pieces to it. So Doctor Who themed. The artist who designed this is the Kosher Stitcher. And you can see there's a lot of different elements from different Doctor Who characters and episodes. Again, I apologize for the zippers and shuffling sounds for anyone who's using headphones. But this is where I'm at. So this is on 14 Count Out of This World Printed Ada by Grandma B. Wilden. And I'm using DMC and stitching 2 strands over 1. Winter Face is it's on 14 count black Ada, and I'm stitching 2 over 1. And the moon phases temperature chart is on 16 count black Ada, and I'm stitching 2 over 1. So you'll notice a lot of things are 2 over 1 or 2 over 2. Hoping to begin working a little bit in other areas. In just a second, I'll get started with some of the other projects. I'm just going to set them up and come back. Okay, so I realized I was not wearing my microphone and I got a little bit too hot. So if that's why I look different, I also changed the lighting a little bit because it's getting dark outside. But moving on. Starting February 20th, I began this project, which is Crocus in a Pot. This is another one from the Whole Shop bundle on Etsy, and the designer is Tiny Cross Stitches. And my progress is here. So again, this is a 16 count white Ada. There we go. And I am about 50% complete. And 2 strands over 1. The next one I started was a leap day start for 2024. And so the idea with the leap day start is you have until the next leap day to finish it. So I hope to finish this by February 29th, 2028. But I probably need to make more progress. So This is Ars Robotica by Ink Circles. Or maybe it's ours. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Please send in a correction and let me know if I'm not saying that correctly. So it's a mandala that's sort of robot-like, if you couldn't see that. This is how far I am. I'm using all of the called for on this project. So it's a 30 count Weeks Dye Works in the color Aspen, and the threads are Gentle Art. And I have about 20% complete, so maybe I need another 5% before we get to February 28th, 2025. But I'm really enjoying this, making the mandalas. It's like everything needs to be symmetrical, but because I'm doing all the stitches in the same direction, it's like a different experience of stitching each symmetrical motif. But yeah, it's going to be much bigger than this. And I'm doing 2 strands over 2. And the next one that I started is also from the Tiny Cross Stitches whole shop bundle on Etsy. If I can pull it up here. This is called Sloth. I kind of refer to it as Sloth Meditating. Maybe that's a better color representation. And I'm doing this on 16 count navy Aida. You may have noticed from some of my previous projects that I do enjoy a dark background. So this is how far I am. It's a lot of hanging threads and things. Within the sloth, it's all full coverage, so there's a lot of different colors of tan and brown, and it's a lot of color changing, but it looks great. So there's that. And again, 2 threads over 1 on 16 count navy Aida. That was started on March 7th, and I'm about 73% complete on that one, so really just need to put in a little bit more push. It's a gift for someone who hopefully isn't watching this yet, but hoping to finish that and send it out soon. I have about 2,000 stitches left, so not nothing. The next project I started is called Gay Agenda. And it was from the second whole shop bundle I bought from X Cross Stitch Pattern X. And oh, throwing things around down there. So started on May 22nd, 2024. I believe this is also 16 count white Ada, and this is how far I am. So I started working with the green. I've been kind of color completing, so I decided since the black stitches were kind of boring that I would try to do all of those first and then go color by color. Um, so for Gay Agenda, I am about 50% complete. So um, more work to do on that one, maybe as we get closer to Pride Month again. And then on Juneteenth, I started This Juneteenth Day by Nuri at Shaded Stitchery. This is a beautiful pattern that Nuri created to commemorate Juneteenth. That's good. Yeah, I believe this is the first one that she's created, but she has several Juneteenth patterns that come out around June 19th each year, and it's so pretty. So that's a preview. And then I did not use the called for fabric. This is just a natural linen. I believe it's 32 count. But using the called for DMC, and that is how far I am. Those stitches at the top, so fun to do, but also just a lot of stitches. And for that one, I am 15% complete, so more stitching to do. The next project I did was a small, I believe I got this in one of another Flosstubers giveaway, or possibly from Stash Unloading on a Facebook group. This is called Woolly Zipper, and the preview photo is tiny. This was a kit, but maybe I put it here. You can see it's 3 stacked sheep and some flowers. And this is the kit fabric. I'm not exactly sure what count it is. And kit floss, which is pearl cotton. So this is my first time working with pearl cotton. I believe this is the correct direction. So that's about how much I have complete. That's by Bent Creek. And I started it on June 22nd, 2024. The next project, I may be able to insert the completed design. It's by D's 20 Stitches, and they are an amazing designer. And this stitch along was only available to a certain number of people, and then it was closed. And basically the concept is every month you receive a packet of learning about a different queer artist. It's the Stitch for Pride 2024 stitch along. And so for each month you get a packet of learning, which might be like articles to read or Usually there's some YouTube videos about the artist, maybe some like audio of them talking about their art. And then for each month, there is a motif that's designed inspired by that artist. Um, and so this has just been really great. I didn't get in at the beginning of 2024, but they opened it up in June to help pay for top surgery. So it was great getting in June, and then I was just so excited about all of the learning. Um, and I'm almost done, so you can see what it looks like. Um, there was kit there was fabric and floss that was designed by other uh, queer dyers, but that went really fast. And so my process um, was to do the learning, and then I picked a color from my leftover overdyed floss to complete the motif, one that I thought fit. And sometimes I looked at what other people did. I definitely was watching Michelle Bendy Stitchy's progress on this. Um, and I really liked the idea of having each motif have like a um, primary color and then use a little bit of a color from a different month. So a lot of these flosses are from Goth Rainbow Floss Pack from Dying for Sass. So this Keith Haring motif was January, and that one is the color is called Goth Rainbow. So it's a rainbow variegated thread, um, and that was used for the Vote as If stitch along, and so I had some extra left over from that. Um, and then some of the other ones are Gentle Arts or Classic Colorworks. If you're interested, I list which color I used for each motif on my Instagram. Um, but yeah, I just love this. It's beautiful and it represents the art of some amazing artists who've done some amazing things. And just learning about them and their history has been great. This year's Stitch for Pride Stitch Along is already closed, so you can't join. Who knows if you follow Dee's 20 Stitches newsletter. Um, if there happens to be an opening, you'll get notified and you can join then. I would say each of the motifs was probably between 700 and 1500 stitches. Um, and you get one a month. So I was able to catch up pretty easily starting in June. Uh, they've already released the January pattern and learning. I haven't quite gotten ready for it because I ordered the floss pack, but because of the Canada Post strike, it um, was delayed in shipping. So I'm still waiting. But um, as you can see, I am just working on the center motif, which is Robert Indiana's Love piece. I just have a few more stitches, and honestly, part of the reason it's not complete is because I wanted to show it in this WIP parade. Yeah, so for that one, the thread, like I said, is all different overdyed threads. I don't think there's any DMC, maybe a little bit of 310 and the Keith Haring motif. And the artist is Dee's 20 Stitches. And yeah, so that was started June 24th, and I am 99.2% complete on that project. Um, so the next thing that I started was this another Amigurimi project. This is I haven't worked on it in a while. But the idea is it is a stone plant or a lithops. Um, but basically, this plant is so weird, and one of my friends was very interested in it. These little tiny things on the top, they kind of look like brains. There were some people on Instagram and TikTok that were really into them for a while. Um, so I thought that was entertaining. Um, and I think all that I've done is this, which is part of the dirt. Um, so that was started on July 13th, 2024, and I don't know percentages on that. And then in August, I didn't start anything. September 1st, I had been looking for a Dutch sampler. Um, my heritage on my mother's side is Dutch and Indonesian, and so I'm always interested in what can I do that might recognize my ancestors in some way or bring back memories from childhood about my culture. Um, so I found this, I believe, on eBay. It is Cross Stitch and Country Crafts Delft sampler. So you can see it has those Delft tile motifs. There's like a windmill and a farmer and some flower motifs and a milkmaid and a house. Um, and then it has this quote in the middle, and I don't think this quote represents my relationship with my mother that well, so I'm going to rechart it. Um, but I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that. I might make it um, less tall and not do all of the side motifs and then put something in the middle. Um, I have not done much on paper patterns, so this has been a real challenge, um, but it is also just beautiful. Um, this is a 28 count fabric. I want to say it's called Alma fabric. But you can see I've done some of the cross stitching on this person, the farmer, but I haven't done the back stitch. But on that windmill, the back stitching just makes everything so great. So I'm really enjoying this, but it goes really slow. I am attempting to transfer a Mirabilia pattern to using floss cross, so I might do that with this just because I lose my place all the time, and then I often don't want to leave mistakes, so I'll end up like frogging a whole bunch of stitches and then just being disappointed um, because I'm still like basically treading water. Um, but yeah, so I've done almost two of the little tiles around the border on that one. I started that one on September 1st, 2024. Um, the next pattern I'm working on is gigantic. um, it is the Witchy Stitcher Nostalgic Tarot series. Um, and I joined her Patreon just for these patterns because I saw the lovers was two aliens and a spaceship, and I just loved it. You can kind of see the colors that she chooses here. Um, but basically, it's going to have the entire major arcana, and I have only really done the top of the border and the high priestess, which I'll get a little closer so you can see. Um, but she's so great. It's a little kitty high priestess with the rainbow wings, and I love her. Um, because there's so many patterns and they all are included in this one, I don't have a great preview for that, but you can easily find the other cards that have been released. I think there's maybe 14 that have been released so far, so still quite a few to go. Um, I believe they're released to her Patreons first, and then a few months later they might be released publicly. I'm not totally sure. Um, but she also releases other patterns on her Patreon, and I would say highly recommend the Witchy Stitcher. Um, and I'll try to put everyone I mention in the description. Um, okay, and then I didn't start anything in November. That's still going. Um, I took I went to the Jingle Ball, but only sort of because my father was in town, and um, so I went to the Jeannette Douglas class on specialty stitches, um, and so I'm gonna see if I can find that one. Okay, well, I wasn't able to find it. Um, if I can uh, insert a picture here, I will. Um, but it was a little ornament made with, I want to say, 8 different specialty stitches. So it was really fun to do, and it was a class that I took at the Jingle Ball, which is Lindy Stitch's online retreat. So that was fun. Like I said, my dad was in town, so I didn't attend most of the rest of it, but it was definitely worth it for that class and um, to look at all the freebies in the shop and even some that I bought because they were going to charity or because I just couldn't help myself. I definitely got the Ornament book for 2024. Um, and actually, I made 2 different WIP Go boards this year. If you're not familiar with WIP Go, it's sort of like a bingo game that Jessie Marie does stuff, um, puts together. She calls, it's a board of 25 squares, and she calls 2 numbers a month. And you can sort of, it's your board, your rules. You can say, like, I will touch the project that I put in the square. You can put categories, all kinds of things. So I made one um, following the inspiration from Stephanie at Cross Stitch the Globe, that was all ornaments and Christmassy things because I realized this year that I often want to give people things for Christmas, but then it's like it all gets started in December and I can't do as much as I want to do, and then there's some guilt goes along with that. And I just thought, well, if I even if I just start these things, um, then at least I have some things that are like already started that I can choose between once it gets closer to the time. Um, and also because they're mostly smalls, um, I like having a good like the dopamine from finishing something, even if it's something small. Um, it's a little bit of like if I'm working on lots of bigger projects and having a little small here and there makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something. And also, this new tracking I'm doing in Notion is really helping with that also because I'm tracking my stitches and I can say, oh, this month I did this many stitches. Since I'm still like inputting everything from 2024, I don't know how many stitches I did in 2024. Um, but yeah, so I started that little mini sampler ornament with specialty stitches on December 6th, and I will put in a picture if I can. I don't really know how to edit video, so we'll see how that goes. And then since January, I have started um, two ornaments. Uh, One of them was just a freebie that I had found. I think it was also from Cross Stitch the Globes. They have um, freebies for different time frames of videos that come out. So if you go to their channel, you can see there's one that's all freebie Christmas patterns, um, and one that was from the Jingle Ball Ornament book. Um, so the one that was a freebie is also by Bunt Creek. There we go. It just says joy. Um, this one I think is maybe a total of 625 stitches plus a little back stitching. And this one is almost complete. If I can just find the project bag. Aha. Um, so I've done almost all the cross stitches. And maybe now you can see I've done some of the pine needles on the wreath. Oh, this is frustrating. Okay. But I think I did them in one strand, and I think maybe they need in two strands so you can see them. Hard to see. Um, and that one I started on January 4th. Like I said, I'm very close to a finish. Um, and then the other thing that came up on my Christmas ornament WIP go was one of the ornaments from the Jingle Ball book. And so that one is called Bright Noel. Um, it's by Tiny Modernist. And it's actually the cover photo for the Jingle Ball Baubles. So that's what it looks like. This one is more like 2,000 something stitches, so a bit more work. And I also have not gotten anywhere close to a finish, so I was just working on this last night. Kind of just filling in some colors. And that one I have completed 381 out of 265 stitches. And then I think there's also some back stitching. And I've worked on it on 2 different days. Surrounded by Joy. This is just a scrap of leftover fabric. I think it's a Lugana, some kind of even weave. I'm doing both of them on the same one. It might be a 32 count. I'm not sure. And yeah, it says I've done 620 of 625 stitches for the Bent Creek Surrounded by Joy ornament. I don't know. How does everyone count back stitches? I always just put in the cross stitches, but then sometimes the back stitching is a lot of extra work. So 99% done with the cross stitches. And then the other WIP Go board, I just have my current WIPs, not including the things I just started, and some projects that that have been in the queue to start, and I wanted to make sure that they got started this year. So the last thing that I started on the 8th, just a few days ago, is this pink flower Mill Hill kit. I actually, when I visited Portland to visit my dad early this year, or early in 2024, I think it was April. Sorry about all the crinkling. I bought 2 of these and I gave one to my best friend because I know she likes little crafty things, and I don't know if she's very into cross stitch, but I figured it's a small one, so it's finished size 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And that's what the cover looks like. And this one is all beaded, so the thread is all white thread. And this is how far I've gotten. And that's the last thing I've started. So, thanks so much for watching my video. This was kind of fun, but I don't know what I'm doing. Hopefully the editing goes okay. If you liked it, send me a like, leave me a comment, and then hopefully you'll see me again if I decide I can show my face again after I post this. Again, I'll try to put all of the people I mentioned, and since it's only 16 patterns, I may also link the patterns, but definitely I will list them. And yeah, feel free to follow me on Instagram. Again, it's Betzelina Stitches, just like my YouTube name, but all one word. So yeah, see you around. Hope that you're having a good new year and that you're enjoying whatever stitching you're doing. And yeah, hopefully maybe even you got some stitching done while watching me. See ya.